Quite often I've heard the phrase, "You're not really a normal vicar." And I don't go out of my way to break stereotypes, I just am who I am on this estate. But people, particularly those who've never been to church at all, have got a very set idea in their heads of what a vicar is, and indeed of what a Christian is. And they think you've got to live by this huge set of rules, and you've got to do this and you're never allowed to do that. And we're just there, we're being normal and letting people see that to have a relationship with Jesus can be a normal part of your life, can be an amazing part of your life, but that we're actually just normal people.
If you really want real fulfillment where you think you're affecting people's life, Estate Church offers that for you. What do you want from your ministry? Do you want to change life? Do you want to affect people's life? Do you want to bring Christ into their life? Well, you'll get every opportunity on Estates, because you're seeing people in a position where they're crying out for help, where they're crying out for something to make their life worthwhile. And I think ministry in an estate offers that.
Jesus came to announce good news to the poor. And yes, we can say that we're all poor in spirit, but there's a real sort of poverty when people are relying on food banks, when the benefits have been stopped, when people are lending money to family members and actually going without themselves. Then it's times like that that they need to hear the good news and that there is hope. Often people in these kind of areas need to know that they're loved and that they're forgiven by God, rather coming to church and feeling we're going to sort of really go on about sin.
Right at the beginning of his public ministry, Jesus stood up in the synagogue in Nazareth and he told people what he'd come to do. "The Spirit of the Lord is upon me," he said, "to proclaim good news to the poor." Jesus began a movement which utterly transformed what it means to be human, and he did so from the edges, from the forgotten and from the marginalised and the poor. If we're serious about the renewal of Christian life in our nation, we need to do what Jesus did. It's from the edges, amongst the marginalised, that renewal will come. It's so important, therefore, that the church recommits itself to presence, to service, to proclamation, to a ministry of love on our big outer estates. It's from there that renewal will come.
I came to do my curacy in Blackpool in the town centre, and as I was driving in and out of Blackpool, I would pass this estate, and I kept feeling that there was some kind of call on my life to this particular estate. But the call just gets stronger and stronger, and I knew that this is where God wanted me to come, and I've no idea what this meant. So it was conversations with people at the diocese, with the bishop and the archdeacons. Then we came up with the idea to try a pioneer post. We've been here for about 2 years, and when we first came to the estate, we spent quite a lot of time doing research about the issues on the estate.
I think the church is good news for our estate. It's bringing so much joy and hope to a lot of people who might not have had it before, and also that sense of family. A lot of people might be on their own here, or they might be quite far away from their family, and I think the community that church has brought here is just incredible. The church family that we've got, and the way that people are making those relationships with people they'd never have seen before, never have met, like neighbours that just don't talk, and suddenly it's like they're finding this joy together, and I think it kind of started with the church.
We are supposed to cater for people where we simply love everybody. And while we may not be able to provide the physical needs of all the people that we come in contact with, we have the faith to say that we'll help you in this way, even if it's only a prayer. And we believe that people who come in contact with ministry and with Christ, their lives are inevitably, their lives are changed. The church does many great things. The church does a great deal of good work. But for me, ministry on the estates is actually where we show ourselves to be like the people we are, that we care for the people in the estate, that they matter to us. And if the church really seeks to be relevant, then this is the areas that they need to invest in. Because we are touching people's lives, we are changing people's lives.
I've been vicar here at St Peter's Cowgate in Newcastle for coming on 8 years in the autumn. The population of the parish is about 9,500 people, and one of the things we do as a church is we accompany people. And that means actually taking on some of the things that they're going through. So if there's a family that's feeling intimidated by neighbours and we're invited to help them, well, one of the ways we can do that is by being a presence with them, visiting them regularly. So sometimes it's actually being an advocate for that person or people that are struggling with the housing that they're in. But other times it's just accompanying people.
My name's Shirley Davison. I'm the principal of Hilton Primary Academy based in Blakelaw. I've been principal here for 10 years. We've got 480 pupils on roll. The vast majority come from the 165 local estate. I think the involvement of the church, in particular Father Allen, began working with us as a governor when we were looking at some of the community issues quite a few years ago, and we understood that there was a really important role that the church could play. The vast majority of children in our school do not have a religion and do not recognise the role of church or religion in their life. And I think it's that underpinning morality that our children need and need to see what's on offer for them, not just in their local school, but also in the wider communities.
I'm incredibly excited by what God is doing on many of our estates. I'm really excited by what leaders are doing in planting new churches and renewing church life. What we need is more and more people to commit themselves to that work. We need more leaders who'll hear their call to work in estates areas. We need every church to think, how can we be a church for the poor? I'm absolutely convinced that if we can renew Christian life on our outer estates, we'll renew church life everywhere. Please join with us in this great work.